I stood backstage in my cap and gown, phone clutched in my sweaty hand, staring at the text from my mother. "Can't make it, sweetie. Your father invited his work friends over for the Super Bowl. You understand, right?" I had worked 3 jobs to put myself through nursing school. Today was supposed to be the proudest moment of my life. Instead, I walked across that stage to complete silence, while 2,000 other graduates heard their families scream their names. I smiled for the camera. Nobody was there to see it. 3 months before that devastating moment, I had been so full of hope. It was February, and I remember calling my parents on a Tuesday evening after finishing a brutal 12-hour shift at the hospital where I worked as a certified nursing assistant. My feet ached. My scrub smelled like antiseptic, and I was bone-tired. But I was also excited. "Mom, Dad, I just wanted to remind you both that graduation is May 14th, I said, trying to keep the eagerness out of my voice. I had learned over the years not to sound too needy around my parents. "I know it's a few months away, but I wanted to make sure you had it on your calendar." My mother, Patricia, answered first. "Of course, sweetheart. We wouldn't miss it for the world." Her voice sounded distracted, and I could hear the television in the background. Some reality show she always watched. My father, Harold, picked up the other extension. "That's our girl. 4 years of nursing school. We're proud of you, Pumpkin." Those words should have warmed my heart, but there was something hollow about them. Still, I pushed the feeling aside. "I'm buying extra tickets tomorrow. The ceremony is at 2 in the afternoon at the Civic Arena downtown. I'll text you all the parking information." "Sounds good," my father said. "Hey, your brother wants to say hi." Tyler's voice came on the line, younger and more genuine than our parents. "Congrats, sis. I'll definitely be there. Wouldn't miss seeing you in that ridiculous hat." I laughed despite my exhaustion. Tyler was 19, a year into community college that he had recently dropped out of, and he still lived at home with our parents. We had always had a complicated relationship. He was the golden child, the boy, the one who could do no wrong even when he did everything wrong. But lately, he had been trying to bridge the gap between us. "Thanks, Ty. That means a lot." After I hung up, I allowed myself to feel hopeful. Maybe this time would be different. Maybe they would actually show up and be present. Maybe I would finally get the moment I had been dreaming about since I started nursing school. I had been financially independent since I turned 18. My parents made it clear that college was my responsibility. They had helped Tyler with his various failed business ventures, including a car detailing service that lasted 3 months and a cryptocurrency investment scheme that lost them $5,000. But for me, there was always an excuse. Girls didn't need as much help. I should have gotten scholarships. I should have chosen a cheaper school. So I worked. During my 4 years of nursing school, I worked as a certified nursing assistant at the local hospital, pulling night shifts whenever I could. I worked weekends at a coffee shop downtown, making lattes and cleaning tables. And late at night, after studying, I did medical transcription from home, typing up doctor's notes until my fingers cramped. I lived in a tiny 400-square-foot apartment on the edge of town where the rent was cheap and the neighbors were loud. I ate rice and beans most nights. I bought my textbooks used and sold them back immediately. I never went on spring break trips or out to bars with classmates. Every penny went toward tuition, rent, and staying alive. But I did it. I made it through. And graduation was going to be my vindication. The week before graduation, I called to confirm one more time. My mother answered, but she sounded rushed. "Mom, just checking in about Saturday. The ceremony starts at 2, but you should probably get there by 1 to find parking and get good seats." "Mm-hmm," she murmured. I could hear her typing on her computer. "Are you listening?" "Yes, honey. Graduation. Saturday. 2 o'clock. I'm really excited for you all to be there," I said, and immediately regretted how vulnerable I sounded. "Well, be there," she said. Then, almost as an afterthought, Your father was talking to someone at work about a Super Bowl party, but that's not until Sunday, so we're fine. A small alarm bell rang in my mind, but I dismissed it. The Super Bowl was the next day. Surely they wouldn't confuse the dates. Okay, great. I love you, Mom. Love you too, sweetie. I have to go. I'm in the middle of something. She hung up before I could say anything else. On graduation morning, I woke up at 6. I had barely slept, too excited and nervous. I took a long shower, dried my hair carefully, and did my makeup. I put on the new navy blue dress I had bought specifically for the graduation dinner I had planned at a nice Italian restaurant downtown. I had made reservations for 5 people. Me, my parents, Tyler, and my best friend from nursing school, Jessica. I put on my cap and gown over the dress, adjusted the tassel, and took several selfies in my bathroom mirror. I looked happy, accomplished, like someone who had fought hard and won. I sent a text to the family group chat. Heading to campus now. Parking lot C. Section 214, row 12, seats 8 through 11. See you soon. Red heart emoji. I waited for responses. Tyler sent back a thumbs up. My mother sent a smiley face. My father didn't respond. I drove to campus, singing along to the radio, windows down even though it was only 58 degrees outside. I arrived 2 hours early, but the parking lot was already filling up. I found a spot and walked toward the arena, joining streams of other graduates in caps and gowns. Everywhere I looked, I saw families. Parents taking pictures of their kids, grandparents with flowers, siblings carrying balloons and signs. One family had matching t-shirts that said Emily's biggest fans. Another had brought an entire poster board covered in baby pictures. I checked my phone. No new messages. I found the staging area where all the nursing students were gathering. Jessica ran up to me, her cap askew, her parents trailing behind with a professional camera. "Deanna, we did it! Can you believe we actually did it?" Her enthusiasm was infectious. "I know! It doesn't feel real yet. Where's your family? Come get a picture with us." Jessica's mother waved me over. "They're not here yet," I said, running a little late. I posed with Jessica and her family for several photos, feeling both grateful and hollow. Her parents treated me with such warmth, asking about my plans after graduation, congratulating me genuinely. This is what it should feel like, I thought. At 1 o'clock, I checked my phone again. Nothing. At 1:15, I called my mother. It went to voicemail. At 1:30, I called my father. Also voicemail. At 1:45, 45 minutes before the ceremony was supposed to start, my phone finally buzzed. It was a text from my mother. "Can't make it, sweetie. Your father invited his work friends over for the Super Bowl. You understand, right?" I stared at the screen. Read the words again. Then again. The Super Bowl. Today was Saturday. The Super Bowl was tomorrow. But even as I thought this, I realized what had happened. They had planned this. They had chosen this. My hands shaking, I called my mother. She answered on the 4th ring. "Hello." Her voice was bright, cheerful. I could hear people laughing in the background, music playing. The sound of a blender. "Mom, the Super Bowl is tomorrow. Graduation is today." "Oh." A long pause. "Well, honey, your father's boss came over early. We're having a pre-game party. This is really important for your father's career. You understand, right? We can celebrate another time." Another time. My voice cracked. "This is my college graduation. You promised you'd be here. Deanna, don't be dramatic. It's just a ceremony. You'll get your diploma in the mail anyway. We're proud of you. You know that." Someone called her name in the background. "I have to go, honey. Congratulations. Well, make it up to you." "Mom, please. Please don't do this." But the line was already dead. I immediately called Tyler. He answered, and I could hear the same party noise. "Hey, sis. Tyler, please tell me you're on your way." He sighed. "I'm sorry, Deanna. I really am. But Mom and Dad threw this whole thing together, and Dad said I had to be here. The wings smell amazing, though. Well, definitely make it up to you. Maybe next weekend we can all go out. I felt something break inside my chest. Sure, Ty. Enjoy the wings. I hung up and immediately opened Facebook on my phone, some masochistic instinct driving me. I scrolled to my mother's page. The most recent post was from 30 minutes ago. A photo of their living room decorated in team colors, a spread of food on the coffee table, my father and Tyler grinning in matching jerseys. The caption read, "Game day ready, go team." The post had been up for 30 minutes. 11 people had already liked it. 3 had commented, "Have fun. Great spread. Wish we were there." I stared at that photo for a long time. They had decorated. They had color coordinated. This wasn't a last-minute decision. They had been planning this party for weeks, probably since the week I called to confirm. They had chosen this party over me, deliberately and completely. I sat in my car, in my cap and gown, and cried. Not gentle tears, but huge, body-racking sobs that made my mascara run and my nose stuff up. I cried for the little girl who always came second. I cried for the teenager who learned not to expect too much. I cried for the woman who had worked herself to exhaustion trying to prove she was worthy of pride. At 1:55, 5 minutes before the ceremony, I forced myself to stop. I used napkins from my glove compartment to wipe my face. I reapplied lipstick with shaking hands. I got out of the car and walked toward the arena. I was going to walk across that stage, even if I had to do it alone. Inside the arena, the energy was electric. Thousands of people filled the seats, a sea of proud families clutching cameras and phones, ready to capture every moment. I made my way to the section where the nursing students were gathering, trying to hold my head high despite the fact that my eyes were probably still red and puffy. The chairs were arranged alphabetically, so I ended up sitting between a girl named Courtney, who I had shared exactly 2 classes with, and Marcus, one of the few male nursing students in our program. Marcus was bouncing with excitement. "My grandparents flew in from Florida," he said to me, grinning. "Haven't seen them in 2 years. And my little sister made me a poster board. She's 8, and apparently, I'm her hero." He laughed, showing me a text with a photo of a poster covered in glitter that said, "My brother the nurse." "That's wonderful," I managed to say, and I meant it. I was happy for him. I just wished I could feel even a fraction of that joy. As we waited for the ceremony to begin, I watched families continuing to pour in. The sections were filling up fast. I thought about my 4 empty seats in section 214. Would anyone sit in them? Would strangers wonder why those particular seats were empty? The lights dimmed, and the ceremony began. Our dean, Dr. Patricia Williamson, took the podium. She was an older woman with gray hair and wire-rimmed glasses, someone who had dedicated 40 years to nursing education. Today, we celebrate not just these graduates, but the families who supported them, she began. Behind every nurse in this room is a network of love. Parents who sacrificed, siblings who encouraged, partners who understood the long nights of studying. To the families here today, thank you for your unwavering support. The audience erupted in applause. I sat very still, hands folded in my lap. Dr. Williamson continued with her speech, talking about the sacred trust of nursing, the privilege of caring for people in their most vulnerable moments. She talked about compassion and competence, about science and soul. Under different circumstances, I would have hung on every word. Instead, I felt numb. Then came the moment I had been both anticipating and dreading, calling names. They started with the bachelor's in nursing students, going through the alphabet. Each name was announced, and each graduate walked across the stage to the sound of thunderous applause, whistles, screams of, "That's my baby," and "We love you." When Courtney's name was called, an entire section stood up, waving and cheering. She practically floated across that stage. When Marcus' name was called, I heard his grandmother's voice clearly above the crowd. "That's my grandson. That's my Marcus." The love in her voice made my throat tight. Then I heard it. Deanna Marie Cooper. I stood up. My legs felt shaky as I walked toward the stage stairs. I could hear scattered, polite applause. The kind that audiences give when they don't know the person but want to be supportive. It sounded so thin compared to the roars that had come before. I climbed the stairs, shook Dr. Williamson's hand, and took my diploma cover. The photographer positioned in front of the podium gestured for me to turn and smile. Flash, click, done. I walked across the stage and down the other side. My moment over in less than 30 seconds. As I returned to my seat, I heard the next name called and the crowd erupt again. I sat down and looked at the empty diploma cover in my hands. Inside was just a placeholder. The real diploma would come in the mail in 6 to 8 weeks. But everyone would get their photo, the one where they're on stage, holding this cover, smiling like they've achieved something monumental. In my photo, I would be alone. No one in the audience was there for me. The rest of the ceremony blurred together. More speeches, more names, more celebrations. Finally, after what felt like hours, it ended. Caps flew in the air. People rushed to find their families. The arena became a chaos of hugs and flowers and tears of joy. I stood up slowly, gathering my things. I needed to get out of there before I broke down again. Deanna. Jessica pushed through the crowd, her parents and 2 siblings following behind. Where's your family? Come take pictures with us. They couldn't make it, I said, forcing a smile. Last-minute thing. Jessica's face fell. Oh no, I'm so sorry. But hey, you still need to celebrate. Come to dinner with us, please. I started to decline, but Jessica's mother, Linda, put her hand on my arm. We insist. You shouldn't be alone today. Something in her eyes told me she understood more than I was saying. I nodded, not trusting my voice. I followed them outside into the May sunshine. The parking lot was packed with families taking photos in front of the arena sign, on the grass, by fountains, everywhere. Professional photographers had set up stations. Balloons bobbed in the breeze. Jessica's father, Tom, took what felt like 100 pictures. Me and Jessica together. Me with Jessica's whole family. Me by myself, holding my diploma cover, trying to smile naturally. Jessica's little brother, barely 10 years old, said, "You look sad. It's your graduation. You're supposed to be happy." I am happy. I lied. Eventually, we made our way to the cars. I had planned to drive myself to the Italian restaurant, but Linda suggested I ride with them and they'd bring me back after. I agreed, grateful not to be alone yet. The restaurant was beautiful, with white tablecloths and candles, and a waitress who congratulated us immediately. Jessica's family ordered appetizers and entrees and dessert, and they insisted on paying for my meal despite my protests. During dinner, my phone kept buzzing. I tried to ignore it, but finally, I checked. 15 text messages, all from Tyler. I opened them with shaking hands. The first few were photos from the Super Bowl party. The living room was packed with people I vaguely recognized from my father's work. There was a taco bar set up, a chocolate fountain, matching decorations everywhere. Then Tyler's commentary started. "This is actually pretty fun. Dad's boss brought his family. Mom made her famous lasagna. Your favorite lol." And then the one that made my blood run cold. Parents spent $800 on this party. Dad says it's networking. Mom made your favorite lasagna, LOL. $800. They had spent $800 on a party for people they barely knew, but they couldn't show up for my graduation. The next message was a video. I tapped it, and Tyler's voice came through. "Deanna, seriously, you should see this spread." Mom went all out. "When are you going to visit?" The party's still going strong. In the background, I could see my parents laughing with my father's boss, drinks in hand, looking relaxed and happy. They weren't thinking about me at all. I set my phone down, and my hand was shaking so badly that I knocked over my water glass. Water spread across the white tablecloth. Oh no, I'm so sorry, I stammered, grabbing napkins. Jessica's mother reached across and took my hand. Deanna, honey, what's wrong? And just like that, the dam broke. I tried to hold it in, but tears started streaming down my face. Linda passed me more napkins, and Tom quietly asked the waitress for some discretion. Jessica scooted her chair closer and put her arm around me. They weren't running late, I whispered. They just didn't come. They chose a Super Bowl party instead. I showed them Tyler's texts, the photos, the video. I watched their faces change from confusion to shock to anger. $800 on a party, Tom said, his voice tight. But they couldn't take one afternoon for their daughter's college graduation. How could anyone do that to their child? Linda's eyes were fierce. Deanna, I am so sorry. You deserved so much better than this. Jessica was crying too now. I had no idea. You've been so private about your family. I thought maybe they were just busy people. But this is cruel. The word hit me like a slap. Cruel. It was cruel, wasn't it? I had spent so long making excuses for them, trying to understand their perspective, trying not to be too demanding. But at its core, what they had done was simply cruel. We finished dinner, though I barely tasted my food. When Jessica's family dropped me back at my car in the arena parking lot, which was now mostly empty, Linda hugged me tight. You are extraordinary, she whispered in my ear. You put yourself through nursing school while working 3 jobs. You graduated with honors. You did this entirely on your own. That's not something to be sad about. That's something to be incredibly proud of. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. As they drove away, I sat in my car one more time, still wearing my cap and gown. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the empty lot. I looked at my diploma cover on the passenger seat. Then I looked at my phone and pulled up my mother's Facebook page again. She had posted more photos from the party. In one, she and my father were raising glasses to the camera. The caption said, "Wish Deanna could have joined our Super Bowl celebration." My mother had tagged me in the post. I scrolled through the comments. Family friends congratulated me on graduation. Aunt Laura wrote, "So proud of our Deanna." Uncle Jim wrote, "Congrats to the graduate." None of them realized that my parents weren't at my graduation. None of them knew the truth. My mother had crafted a narrative where everything looked perfect from the outside, where we were a happy family celebrating together, just on different days for different reasons. But I knew the truth, and sitting there in that parking lot, still in my cap and gown, I felt something shift inside me. The sadness was still there, but underneath it was something harder, something sharp. I was done begging for their approval. I was done making excuses for them. I was done accepting crumbs when I deserved a feast. I just didn't know yet what I was going to do about it. The Sunday after graduation, I woke up feeling emotionally hungover. My eyes were swollen from crying, my head ached, and my whole body felt heavy. I looked at my phone, 11:30 in the morning. I had slept almost 13 hours. There were more messages from the family. My mother had sent a selfie from the Super Bowl party that apparently went late into the night. Game was amazing. Hope your ceremony was nice, sweetie. Tyler had sent, "Hey, you okay?" You haven't responded to my texts. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I got up, made coffee, and sat on my tiny apartment balcony. It was barely big enough for one chair, but it was my space. Below, I could hear kids playing in the parking lot. Life going on as normal. I checked social media again, a habit I couldn't seem to break. More photos from the party. My father's boss had posted a picture of the whole group, including my parents, with the caption, "Great hosts. Thanks for having us, Harold and Patricia." My mother had shared it, adding, "So blessed to have wonderful friends." I wondered if she felt any guilt at all. I wondered if my father had thought about me even once during their party. I wondered if they truly believed what they had done was acceptable, or if they were just very good at lying to themselves. At 10 o'clock Monday morning, I was brushing my teeth when my phone rang. My father's name appeared on the screen. I considered not answering, but curiosity won. "Hello? Hey, Pumpkin." His voice was cheerful, casual, like nothing had happened. "Sorry we missed your little ceremony on Saturday. How'd it go?" Little ceremony. The words stung. "It went fine," I said flatly. "Great, great. Listen, the party was fantastic. My boss, Gerald, was really impressed. Says it shows I know how to bring people together. This could be huge for my promotion." I waited. He didn't apologize. Didn't acknowledge that he had promised to be there. Didn't ask if I was hurt. "That's nice, Dad. Anyway, your mother wants to say hi." There was rustling as he passed the phone. "Deanna? Hi, honey. We had such a good time on Saturday. I'm sorry you couldn't join us. Did you get our texts?" "I was kind of busy," I said. "You know, graduating from college." If she caught my sarcasm, she didn't acknowledge it. Of course, of course. Well, we'll have to celebrate soon. Maybe next weekend? Although your father has that golf thing. And I have book club." "Sure, Mom. We'll figure it out. Actually, sweetie, there's something we need to talk to you about." Her tone shifted, becoming more serious. "Is now a good time?" "I guess. Hang on. Let me get your father back on. Harold, pick up the other phone." There was a click as my father joined the call again. "Okay, we're both here." I sat down on my couch, suddenly nervous. "What's going on?" My father cleared his throat. "Well, Pumpkin, we have a little situation here. The party on Saturday cost more than we expected. Quite a bit more, actually. And we're a little short on some bills this month." I felt my stomach drop. "What do you mean?" "Well, we're a bit behind on the mortgage payment," my mother said quickly. "Nothing serious, just a timing issue. But we need about $1,500 to catch up." Silence on my end. "Deanna, are you there?" "I'm here. So we were thinking," my father continued. "You just finished school. You'll be making good nurse money soon. And we're family. Family helps family, right? You want me to give you $1,500? Well, loan us $1,500. My mother corrected. "We'll pay you back once things settle down. Your father's promotion should come through any day now, and then we'll be fine." I couldn't speak. I literally couldn't form words. "Pumpkin? What do you say? We really need this. We've always been there for you, and now we need you to be there for us. Always been there for me." The words came out sharper than I intended. "You weren't there on Saturday." "Oh, Deanna, don't be dramatic," my mother sighed. "It was just a ceremony. This is important. This is our house we're talking about. The house that I've never asked you for a dime for," I said. "The house that I paid my own way through college so I wouldn't burden you with. That house." "There's no need to be snippy," my father said. "We raised you. We fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head for 18 years. This is the least you can do." "The least I can do," I repeated, feeling something cold spreading through my chest. "Exactly. Look, we know you probably don't have it all in cash right now, but you could put it on a credit card or something. We really need this by the end of the week." "Let me think about it," I said. "Think about it." My mother's voice rose. "Deanna, this is your family. We need help. You don't just think about helping your family." I said, "I'll think about it." My voice came out harder than I'd ever spoken to them before. "I have to go. I have work." "But Deanna," I hung up. My hands were shaking. I sat there on my couch, staring at the wall, trying to process what had just happened. They had skipped my graduation for a party that apparently cost them so much money they were now behind on their bills. And their solution was to ask me, the daughter they couldn't be bothered to show up for, to bail them out. My phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. "Hey, heads up, Mom and Dad are going to ask you for money." I called him immediately. "They already did." "Crap." I was hoping to warn you first. He sighed. Look, they already asked me, but I said no. They're pissed about it. Why are they asking us for money? The party! Tyler's voice dropped. Deanna, they didn't spend $800. They spent $3,000. $3,000? On a Super Bowl party. Dad wanted to impress his boss. He hired a catering company, bought expensive liquor. The whole thing was insane. And they put it all on credit cards. I felt dizzy. That's ridiculous. I know. And here's the thing. They're lying about the mortgage. I heard them talking. They're behind because Dad bought a new truck last month. A $50,000 truck. He wanted something impressive to drive to work. Are you serious? Completely serious. Hang on. Let me send you proof. A minute later, my phone dinged with a screenshot. It was a photo from my father's Facebook page that I hadn't seen. Him standing next to a massive black pickup truck, grinning. The caption. Sometimes you have to treat yourself. New ride. The post was dated 3 weeks ago. They have money for a truck and a party, but not for their mortgage, I said. That's what I'm saying. They're living way beyond their means. And now they want us to fix it. I already told them no, and they called me selfish. Said I was ungrateful. Mom even cried. What did you say? I said, I'm 19. I don't have a job, and I'm not giving them money for their bad decisions. Dad didn't talk to me for 2 days. Good for you, I said, meaning it. Yeah, well, now they're going after you. I'm sorry, sis. I know you just graduated. This is messed up. It's okay. Thanks for the warning. After we hung up, I looked at that photo of my father and his truck for a long time. A $50,000 truck, a $3,000 party, but they couldn't take one afternoon off for my graduation. I thought about my apartment, 400 square feet. Rent was $750 a month, and it was the cheapest place I could find that wasn't actively falling apart. I thought about my savings account, which had exactly $2,300 in it after 4 years of working myself to exhaustion. That money was supposed to be for first and last month's rent when I started my new nursing job, for professional clothes, for the RN certification exam. If I gave my parents $1,500, it'd be back to barely scraping by. And based on their track record, it'd never see that money again. My phone rang again. My mother. I didn't answer. She called 3 more times over the next hour. Then my father called twice. I let them all go to voicemail. Finally, a text from my mother. We're going to lose the house, Deanna. Is that what you want? For your parents to be homeless? Please call us back. I stared at that text. She was trying to manipulate me, and part of me knew it. But another part, the part that had been trained since childhood to put their needs first, felt guilty. What if they really were going to lose the house? What if this was the one time they actually needed help? But then I thought about Tyler's words. They're lying about the mortgage. They bought a truck. They threw a party. I thought about walking across that stage alone. I put my phone on silent and went to work. The next 3 days were torture. My parents called at least 5 times a day. My mother left voicemails that swung wildly between manipulation and rage. Please, baby, we need you. How can you be so selfish? We gave you everything, and this is how you repay us. Your father is so stressed he can barely sleep. My father's messages were shorter, but just as pointed. Disappointed in you, pumpkin. Thought we raised you better than this. Family comes first. But I guess you forgot that. Even extended family got involved. My Aunt Laura called to tell me how worried she was about my parents. They're struggling, Deanna. I know you just graduated, but can't you help them out? They're family. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell everyone the truth. That my parents had skipped my graduation for a party they couldn't afford. That they were lying about why they needed money. That they had a history of making terrible financial decisions and expecting others to fix them. But I didn't. I just said, I'm thinking about it, and ended the conversation. On Thursday evening, I agreed to meet them for coffee. Not because I was going to give them money, but because I needed to say my piece. I needed to tell them how much they had hurt me. Maybe if they understood, maybe if they really listened, things could change. I was naive. I arrived at the coffee shop to find my mother, father, and Tyler already at a table. Tyler gave me an apologetic look as I sat down. My parents both looked stressed, older somehow than they had just weeks ago. Finally, my father said, "We've been trying to reach you for days." "I've been busy," I said, "working. You know, to pay my bills." "Dina, don't start with the attitude," my mother warned. "We need to talk about this seriously." "Okay, let's talk seriously." I took a deep breath. "I want to talk about graduation first." "Oh, for heaven's sake," my father muttered. "Are we really going to do this?" "Yes, we're really going to do this." Do you have any idea how it felt to walk across that stage alone? To hear everyone else's families cheering and have nobody there for me. "We said we were sorry," my mother said, though I couldn't remember either of them actually saying those words. "You chose a party over me, a party that you couldn't afford, and now you want me to fix your financial mess." "It's not a mess," my father said defensively. "It's a temporary setback." "Dad," Tyler told me the truth. About the truck. About how much the party really cost. About the fact that you're not actually behind on the mortgage because of the party, but because of your own bad spending. Both my parents turned to glare at Tyler, who shrank back in his seat. "He shouldn't have told you that," my mother hissed. "Why?" "Because then it'd know you were lying to me." "We weren't lying," my father said. "We were simplifying. You don't understand the full financial picture. Then explain it to me." They looked at each other. My mother spoke first. "We've been living beyond our means for a while now. We know that, but we're working on it. The party was an investment in your father's career. That's how networking works, Deanna. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money. And the truck, I needed reliable transportation," my father said. "My old car was falling apart. So you bought a $50,000 truck. It was an investment. It shows my colleagues and boss that I'm successful. That matters in business." I stared at him, genuinely shocked. "You care more about looking successful than actually being successful. You don't understand how the world works," he snapped. "You're young. You think hard work is enough. It's not. Appearances matter. Connections matter. You know what else matters? Being there for your daughter on the most important day of her life." "Stop being so dramatic," my mother said, her voice rising. "It was just a ceremony. You still got your diploma. You still graduated. Why are you being so sensitive about this?" "Because I'm your daughter." The words burst out of me louder than I intended. The other people in the coffee shop turned to look. "I'm your daughter, and I wanted you there. I worked so hard for this. 3 jobs. 4 years. I did it all on my own because you made it clear you wouldn't help me. And the one thing I asked for was for you to show up, and you couldn't even do that. We've been proud of you," my father said. But his voice lacked conviction. "Have you? Have you really? Because you've never once asked about my classes. You've never asked about my clinicals. You've never asked what I want to do with my career. You just assumed I'd get through it. And then you'd have a nurse in the family that you could brag about to your friends." "That's not fair," my mother said, but she didn't meet my eyes. "You want to talk about fair? How about the fact that you funded Tyler's failed business ventures but never offered me a penny for school? How about the fact that Tyler got to live at home rent-free while I've been paying my own way since I was 18? How about the fact that you spent $3,000 on a party to impress people you barely know? But you're asking me for money now. Stop comparing yourself to your brother," my father said sharply. "Tyler has had a harder time finding his path. He needs more support." "And what did I need?" I asked quietly. "Did you ever ask?" Silence. Tyler shifted uncomfortably. "Mom, Dad, maybe Deanna has a point. We could have made it to her graduation. I wanted to be there. We all should have been there," Tyler, stay out of this, my mother snapped. No, let him talk, I said. Tyler, why did you text me those warnings? Why did you tell me the truth about the money? He looked at our parents, then back at me. Because it's wrong. What they're doing is wrong. I've been watching them treat you like this for years, and I never said anything because I was benefiting from it. But watching you leave graduation early, watching you walk alone, it made me realize how messed up this all is. Tyler. My mother looked betrayed. It's true, Mom. We threw a party we couldn't afford instead of going to Deanna's graduation. That's messed up. And now we're asking her for money to fix our mistake. How is that okay? You're just a child, my father said dismissively. You don't understand. I'm 19. I'm old enough to see what's happening here. My phone, sitting on the table, suddenly rang. The caller ID showed Dr. Helen Morrison, my nursing professor from last semester. I had forgotten that she said she might have some information for me about job opportunities. I need to take this, I said, standing up. Deanna, we're not done here, my father protested. Yes, we are. I walked outside, answering the call. Hello. Dina, hi. It's Dr. Morrison. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time. Actually, your timing is perfect. Wonderful. I wanted to let you know about an opportunity that just came up. There's an intensive care unit position at Seattle Medical Center, a teaching hospital. They're looking for a new graduate nurse to join their ICU team. It's a prestigious program with excellent mentorship, and the pay is significantly higher than most new grad positions. Seattle. That was 2,800 miles away from Pennsylvania. They want to interview you tomorrow via video call, if you're available. I've already sent them your resume and gave you a glowing recommendation. Are you interested? I looked through the coffee shop window. My parents were arguing with each other, hands gesturing emphatically. Tyler sat between them, looking miserable. Yes, I said. I'm very interested. Excellent. I'll email you the details. Deanna, I think this could be a wonderful fresh start for you. A fresh start. The words echoed in my mind. Thank you, Dr. Morrison. Really, thank you for thinking of me. You earned this, dear. You're going to be an excellent nurse, wherever you end up. I hung up and stood there for a moment, my heart pounding. Seattle. A new city. A new life. Away from all of this. I walked back into the coffee shop. My parents immediately stopped arguing. Who was that? My mother demanded. A job opportunity. Good, my father said. Once you start working, you'll have more money to help out. I looked at him, really looked at him, and realized something. He was never going to change. Neither of them were. They truly believed they were entitled to my money, my time, my loyalty, no matter how they treated me. I'm not giving you money, I said clearly. Not $1,500, not $15, not anything. Dina and I'm done trying to earn your approval. I'm done begging you to see me, to value me, to treat me like I matter. I graduated 4th in my class. I worked 3 jobs while maintaining a 3.9 GPA. I'm a good nurse, and I'm a good person. And if you can't see that, that's your loss, not mine. I picked up my purse. Where are you going? My mother asked. Home. And then maybe Seattle. I have a job interview tomorrow. Seattle? That's across the country. I know. You can't just leave, my father said. What about us? What about your family? You mean the family that couldn't be bothered to show up to my graduation? That family. I walked toward the door. Tyler caught up to me in the parking lot. Deanna, wait. I turned. What? Are you really going to Seattle? I don't know yet. Maybe. He pulled me into a hug. If you go, I don't blame you. You deserve better than this. You always have. I hugged him back, surprised by the emotion in his voice. Thanks, Ty. Will you stay in touch? Even if you leave. Of course. Inside the coffee shop, I could see my parents watching us through the window, looking angry and confused. "They're going to make your life hell if you don't give them money," Tyler said. "I know. But I can't keep doing this. I can't keep sacrificing myself to make them happy when they'll never be satisfied." "Good," Tyler said. "It's about time you put yourself first." I drove home, did the video interview with Seattle Medical Center that night instead of waiting for the next day, and by midnight, they had offered me the position. Higher salary than I had dared hope for. Relocation bonus. Comprehensive benefits. A 3-year contract with opportunities for advancement. I accepted on the spot. And just like that, I had an escape route. A one-way ticket out of this life and into something new. I just had to be brave enough to take it. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in months, maybe years. I had a plan. I had a future that belonged entirely to me, not to my parents' expectations or demands. I called my landlord and explained that I wouldn't be renewing my lease, which ended in 2 weeks. Perfect timing. Then I started making lists. What to pack, what to sell, what to leave behind. I worked my shifts at the hospital, gave my 2 weeks' notice at the coffee shop, and spent my evenings preparing for the biggest move of my life. I researched Seattle neighborhoods, found a studio apartment online in a neighborhood called Capitol Hill, and used my relocation bonus to pay the deposit. The apartment was small but bright, with big windows and hardwood floors. It was twice the size of my current place for only slightly more rent. Most importantly, it was 2,800 miles away. My parents continued calling. When I didn't answer, they escalated. Text messages came in rapid succession, swinging between guilt-tripping and anger. From my mother, "We raised you. We loved you. How can you turn your back on us like this?" From my father, "You're being selfish and immature. This is not how family acts." From my mother again, "What will people think? That we raised an ungrateful daughter?" I blocked neither of them. I wanted to see what they were saying. I wanted to remember why I was leaving. Tyler texted me separately. "They're losing it. Dad keeps saying you've been brainwashed by college. Mom cries constantly but then gets really angry. It's uncomfortable living here. Maybe it's time for you to think about moving out too," I suggested. "I've been thinking about it. There's a technical school in Oregon with a good computer programming program. I applied last week." "That's great, Ty." "Yeah. Watching you stand up to them gave me courage. I've been afraid to disappoint them my whole life. But what's the point? They're going to be disappointed anyway." On the Wednesday before my flight, I finally decided to tell my parents about Seattle. I couldn't just disappear, even though part of me wanted to. I called and asked them to do a video chat that evening. When they appeared on my laptop screen, they looked worn out. My father's face was drawn. My mother's eyes were red-rimmed. "So you're finally ready to talk about helping us?" my father said immediately. "No. I called to tell you I'm moving to Seattle." Silence. They stared at the screen. "Seattle," my mother finally said. "As in Washington State?" "Yes. I accepted a position at Seattle Medical Center. I start in 2 weeks. I leave on Sunday." "You can't be serious," my father said. "I'm completely serious. I've already signed the contract." "But that's across the country." My mother's voice rose to a near shout. "You can't just leave." "Why not?" Because we're your parents. Because your family is here." "The family that skipped my graduation for a party?" "That family. Are you ever going to let that go?" my father snapped. "It was one day, Deanna. One day that you're using to punish us." "It wasn't one day. It was a culmination of 24 years of being second best, of watching you fund Tyler's every whim while I worked myself to exhaustion, of being told I was being too sensitive when I asked for basic respect, of being valued only for what I could give you, not for who I am." "That's not true," my mother protested. "We've always loved you. Maybe. But you've never shown up for me. Not when it mattered." "So your solution is to run away?" my father asked. No. My solution is to build a life where I'm surrounded by people who actually care about me, where my achievements are celebrated, not dismissed, where I don't have to beg for the bare minimum of parental support. What about us? My mother asked, and genuine tears were running down her face now. What are we supposed to do? Figure it out. Like I've had to figure everything out on my own since I was 18. You're abandoning us, she sobbed. No, Mom. I'm choosing myself. There's a difference. This is ridiculous, my father said. You're throwing away your family over one missed event and some money we needed. You're being dramatic. I'm being healthy. I'm setting boundaries. I'm refusing to let you treat me like an ATM and a punching bag. If you move to Seattle, don't expect us to welcome you back, he threatened. I'm not expecting anything from you anymore, Dad. That's the whole point. My mother was still crying. Please, Deanna. Please don't do this. We can work it out. We can go to family therapy. We can fix this. For a moment, I wavered. She sounded genuinely distraught. But then I thought about the certified letter that arrived on Thursday, the day after our video call. The letter was from my parents. It was a legal document, filed with the local small claims court. They were suing me. The claim stated that I owed them $47,000 for the cost of raising me from birth to age 18, plus the $1,500 they had originally requested. The document itemized everything: food, clothing, housing, school supplies, medical care, birthday presents, Christmas gifts. $48,500 total. The letter demanded payment within 30 days, or they would proceed with legal action. I sat on my floor and stared at that letter for a long time. Then I called a friend from nursing school whose mother was a lawyer. She read the document over video chat and actually laughed. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Parents cannot sue their children for the cost of raising them. That's their legal obligation. No judge in the country would take this seriously. Are you sure? Completely sure. This will be thrown out immediately. But Deanna, the fact that they filed this at all tells you everything you need to know about them. They're trying to control you through fear and manipulation. She helped me draft a response through her mother's law firm. A cease and desist letter that made it clear I would not be intimidated, that their lawsuit was frivolous, and that any further harassment would result in me seeking a restraining order. The letter was sent certified mail on Friday. I told Tyler about the lawsuit. His response was immediate. That's it. I'm done. I'm applying to that school in Oregon today. They've lost their minds. On Saturday, the day before my flight, I sold my furniture to a used goods store, packed my car with my clothes and personal items, and prepared to drive to the airport, where I'd leave my car in long-term parking until I could arrange to have it shipped to Seattle. That evening, my phone rang. Unknown number, I answered cautiously. Deanna. It was my Aunt Laura. I just heard from your mother about the lawsuit. Please tell me that's not real. It's real. They're suing me for $48,000. Oh my God. Deanna, I had no idea things were this bad. I thought you were just being stubborn about helping them. But this is insane. I tried to tell people. Nobody wanted to hear it. I'm so sorry. You must think we're all terrible. No. I just think everyone saw what they wanted to see. My parents are very good at looking like victims. Is there anything I can do? Just maybe. Believe Tyler when he tells you what's really going on. Hez trying to get out too, and Hez going to need support. I will, I promise. And Deanna, I'm proud of you. For leaving, for standing up for yourself, for not letting them destroy you. Those words, from someone in my family who actually meant them, made me cry. Sunday morning, I drove to the airport with everything I owned in my car. I checked one large suitcase and carried on a backpack. Everything else I had shipped ahead or sold. At security, I looked back one more time. Pennsylvania. My home state. The place where I had learned to be small, to not ask for too much, to accept crumbs. Then I walked through security and toward my gate, toward Seattle, toward something new, I didn't know what was waiting for me there. I just knew it had to be better than what I was leaving behind. The plane touched down at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport on a Sunday evening. Rain streaked the windows, and everything looked gray and green and different. I collected my suitcase, took the light rail into the city, and emerged at Capitol Hill Station into a neighborhood that felt like another planet. Coffee shops on every corner, people with colorful hair and vintage clothes, murals on buildings, the smell of rain and coffee and possibility. My apartment building was a 10-minute walk from the station. The landlord met me with keys and a smile. "Welcome to Seattle. You're going to love it here." The studio was small, maybe 450 square feet, but it had tall ceilings and huge windows that looked out over the neighborhood, hardwood floors, a tiny kitchen with updated appliances, a bathroom with a shower that had excellent water pressure. It was mine. All mine. I unpacked my suitcase, hung up my few clothes, and sat on the floor since my furniture wouldn't arrive for another week. I ordered pizza from a place down the street, and when it arrived, the delivery person said, "First time in Seattle." I must have looked obviously new. Is it that obvious? You have that excited, nervous look. It's a good look. Welcome to the neighborhood. I ate my pizza sitting on the floor, looking out at the city lights, and felt something unfamiliar. Hope. Monday morning, I reported to Seattle Medical Center for orientation. The hospital was enormous, a teaching facility affiliated with the university. My badge photo made me look young and terrified, but the orientation coordinator was kind. "You're going to do great," she assured me. "ICU is intense, but we have an excellent training program." I met my unit director, Amanda Richardson, on Tuesday. She was in her late 40s, with short gray hair and sharp eyes that seemed to see right through me. "Dr. Morrison speaks very highly of you," she said, reviewing my file. "Says you're one of the hardest workers she's ever taught. She's been very supportive." "Good. You'll need support in this unit. ICU nursing isn't for everyone. It's physically exhausting, emotionally draining, and intellectually demanding. But it's also the most rewarding work you'll ever do." She looked up from my file. "Are you ready for that?" "Yes, ma'am." She smiled. "Drop the ma'am. Call me Amanda. We're colleagues now." My first week was overwhelming. I shadowed experienced nurses, learning the rhythms of the unit, the equipment, the protocols. Everything was faster, more complex, more intense than anything in school. On Thursday of that first week, I was helping my preceptor, a nurse named Claire, with a patient who had just come out of open-heart surgery. The patient's family was in the waiting room, terrified and grateful. After we stabilized the patient, Claire sent me to update the family. I walked into the waiting room and saw a woman about my mother's age, her face streaked with tears, holding hands with what looked like her adult children. "Your mom is stable," I told them. "The surgery went well. Dr. Patterson will be out soon to give you all the details, but she's doing great." The woman stood up and hugged me, sobbing with relief. "Thank you. Thank you so much. You saved her life. The surgical team saved her life." "I just helped with the recovery." "No," one of the daughters said. "Claire told us you caught something in her vitals that could have been dangerous. You were paying attention. You cared. That matters." I walked back to the unit and locked myself in the staff bathroom. I cried for 10 minutes straight, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming realization that this was what I was meant to do. This was where I belonged. Someone valued my work. Someone appreciated me. Someone saw me. By the end of my first month, I had found my rhythm. The work was hard, but I loved it. I loved the challenge, the complexity, the feeling of making a real difference. I also started building a life outside the hospital. Claire invited me to a Sunday brunch group with other nurses from the unit. 6 of us met every Sunday at a different restaurant, talking about everything except work. They became my friends, quickly and easily, in a way I had never experienced before. One of them, Sarah, said, "You seem really happy, like genuinely happy." It's nice to see in a new grad. Most people are terrified for the first 6 months. I was terrified, I admitted. I still am sometimes, but I'm also just grateful to be here, to have this opportunity. Where'd you move from? Pennsylvania. Family's still there. I hesitated. Some family. My brother. We stay in touch. But my parents and I aren't really speaking. I'm sorry, Sarah said. And she seemed to genuinely mean it. I'm not. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is distance yourself from toxic people, even if they're family. The whole table nodded in understanding. Later, I learned that 3 of the 6 of them had complicated family situations too. Maybe that's why we bonded so quickly. We understood what it meant to build your own family. My parents continued trying to contact me for the first month. I blocked their numbers after the 50th call in 10 days. Tyler texted me updates. They're still angry. They tell everyone you abandoned them. Dad's lawsuit got thrown out. Judge told him it was a waste of the court's time. That last update made me smile. Tyler also shared good news. I got accepted to the tech school in Oregon. I start in January. I'm moving out on December 1st. That's amazing, Ty. I'm so proud of you. Thanks. You leaving gave me the courage to leave too. I think we both needed to get out, to grow up properly. 3 months into my Seattle life, Amanda called me into her office. My heart sank. Was I in trouble? Had I made a mistake? Sit down, Deanna. You look terrified. Sorry. I thought maybe I'd done something wrong. The opposite, actually. I'm promoting you to senior ICU nurse. You'll be taking on more complex patients and mentoring new graduates when they start next quarter. I've only been here 3 months, and in those 3 months, you've proven yourself to be exceptional. You're detail-oriented, compassionate, quick to learn, and excellent under pressure. You caught 3 critical changes in patient status before anyone else noticed. You're exactly the kind of nurse we want leading our team. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you. That means everything to me. You've earned it. Oh, and I'm nominating you for the hospital's Nurse Excellence Award. The ceremony is in February. That's too much. It's not. You saved a man's life during that code blue last week. The family sent a letter to the hospital administration specifically praising your quick thinking. You deserve recognition. I left her office feeling like I was floating. A promotion, an award nomination, recognition for my actual skills and hard work. That evening, I posted on social media for the first time since leaving Pennsylvania. I shared photos of Seattle, Pike Place Market, the Space Needle, my neighborhood, the mountains visible in the distance. I included one of me in my scrubs with my hospital badge, smiling genuinely. The caption read, "Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away from people who make you feel small." 3 months in Seattle, and I'm thriving in my new city and career. To anyone struggling with toxic family dynamics, you deserve to be celebrated, not diminished. Choose yourself. It's worth it. I didn't tag my parents. I didn't mention them at all. The post went viral in the nursing community. Within 2 days, it had been shared thousands of times. Comments poured in from nurses all over the country sharing similar stories. Messages from people who felt unsupported by their families. Thank you notes from strangers who said my words gave them courage. One comment from a nurse in Texas read, "I graduated alone too. My parents said nursing wasn't a real profession. Thank you for making me feel less alone." Another from Michigan. "Left my toxic family 5 years ago. Best decision I ever made. Proud of you." The outpouring of support was overwhelming and healing in ways I hadn't expected. On a Wednesday evening in November, my phone rang from an unknown Oregon number. I answered cautiously. "Deanna? It's Tyler." "Hey! Why are you calling from a different number?" "I'm at school. I'm using the campus phone because I have news, and I wanted you to hear it directly from me, not through social media." "What's going on?" "I moved out. Got accepted to start classes early, in November instead of January. I left yesterday, packed everything while Mom and Dad were out, left a note, and drove to Oregon. Tyler, that's huge. Yeah. I was terrified they'd stop me if I told them ahead of time. But I did it. I'm here. I'm registered for classes. I got a part-time job at the campus library. I'm doing this. I'm so proud of you. I wanted to tell you something else, too. After you left, things got worse between them. They blamed each other for you leaving, for the lawsuit failing, for their money problems. They're probably going to get divorced. How do you feel about that? Honestly? Relieved. They're toxic together. Maybe apart they'll be better people. Or maybe not. But either way, it's not my responsibility to fix them. No, it's not. And Deanna? Thank you for showing me it was possible to leave. I don't think I would have had the courage if you hadn't done it first. After we hung up, I sat in my apartment feeling a complex mix of emotions. Relief that Tyler was safe. Sadness that our family had fallen apart. But also, underneath it all, a sense of rightness. We were breaking a cycle. We were choosing health over obligation. The week before Thanksgiving, I received an email from my mother. Just one line. Maybe we were too hard on you. No apology. No acknowledgement of what they'd actually done. Just a vague admission that maybe, possibly, they hadn't been perfect. My father added a separate email later that day. Hope you're doing well out there. Heard you got a promotion. Proud of you. Still no real apology. Still no understanding of how deeply they had hurt me. I didn't respond to either email. I was done waiting for them to give me what I needed. I had found it elsewhere. On Thanksgiving, I joined Amanda's family for dinner. Her house was warm and full of laughter. Her adult children and their spouses welcomed me like I'd always been part of the family. Her husband carved the turkey and told terrible dad jokes. Her grandchildren showed me their artwork. Over pie, Amanda raised her glass. I want to toast our friend Dina, who joined our Seattle family this year. We're so grateful to have you. Everyone clinked glasses and said, to Deanna. I excused myself to the bathroom and cried. Happy tears this time. Grateful tears. This was what family was supposed to feel like. Not obligation and guilt and manipulation, but genuine care and celebration and belonging. I had flown 2,800 miles, walked away from everything I knew, and found something better. I had found home. 6 months after moving to Seattle, I woke up on a Saturday morning to my phone buzzing with notifications. It was mid-December, and the city was decorated for the holidays. Rain pattered against my windows. The notifications were all from the hospital's social media page. They had announced the recipients of the annual Nurse Excellence Awards. My name was at the top of the list. The ceremony was scheduled for February, but they announced the winners early so families could make travel arrangements. The post included a short bio. Deanna Cooper joined Seattle Medical Center in June and has already distinguished herself as an exceptional ICU nurse. Her quick thinking and attention to detail have saved multiple lives. She also demonstrates extraordinary compassion for patients and their families. My phone rang. It was Amanda. Congratulations! You earned this, Deanna. Thank you. I honestly can't believe it. Believe it. The selection committee was unanimous. We've never seen a first-year nurse perform at your level. You're remarkable. After we hung up, I looked at the ceremony details. February 14th, Valentine's Day. A formal event at the hospital's conference center. Recipients could invite up to 10 guests. I thought about who I would invite. Tyler, definitely. He could drive down from Oregon. Sarah and Claire from the brunch group. Maybe some other nurses from the unit. Amanda and her husband. Dr. Morrison if she could make the trip. People who had actually shown up for me. People who celebrated my achievements instead of dismissing them. That evening, I got a call from Tyler. Did you see you won that award? I saw. Can you come to the ceremony? Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss it for anything. I'm so proud of you, sis. Thanks, Ty. How's school? Amazing. I'm acing all my classes. Turns out I'm actually pretty good at coding when I'm motivated and away from all the family drama. Oh, and I have news. What? Mom and Dad are officially getting divorced. Papers were filed last week. How are they handling it? Badly. Lots of blame and anger. But here's the interesting part. Aunt Laura has been talking to them. She told them what I said about how they treated us, and apparently it's been sinking in. Mom especially. What do you mean? She's been seeing a therapist. I guess Aunt Laura convinced her to go. And Dad lost his job. The one he was trying so hard to impress his boss at. Turns out the truck and the party didn't matter as much as he thought. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't be. They're finally facing consequences for their choices. That's how people learn. A week later, I received a handwritten letter in the mail. The return address was my parents' house in Pennsylvania. My mother's handwriting. I almost didn't open it. But curiosity won. The letter was 3 pages long. It started with Dear Deanna and ended with Love, Mom. In between was something that resembled an actual apology, though not quite there yet. She wrote about being in therapy, about realizing she had prioritized appearances over genuine connection, about recognizing that she had been harder on me than on Tyler. She wrote about feeling ashamed of the lawsuit, of missing my graduation, of asking me for money after ignoring my accomplishments. I understand if you never forgive us, she wrote, but I want you to know that I see now what we did wrong. Your therapist would probably say I'm making this about me when it should be about you, and she'd be right. I'm working on that. I'm working on a lot of things. Tyler told me about your award. I'm proud of you. I should have said that more. I should have shown it more. I hope someday you'll let me try to be a better mother to you, even though I know I don't deserve another chance. My father had added a short note at the bottom. Your mother said it better than I could. I'm sorry. I'm proud of you. I hope you're happy out there. I read the letter 3 times. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't enough. But it was something. I didn't write back immediately. I took the letter to my therapist, a woman named Jennifer who I'd started seeing in October, to process everything that had happened. What do you think? I asked her. What do you think? She asked back, in typical therapist fashion. I think it's a start, but I don't know if I can trust it. You don't have to decide anything right now. You can sit with this. You can respond when and if you're ready. You don't owe them forgiveness just because they've started to acknowledge their behavior. I know. Do you want a relationship with them? I thought about it. I don't know. Maybe someday. But not now. Not until I'm sure they've actually changed. Not just said the right words. That's wise. And it's okay to protect yourself while they do their own work. 2 weeks later, I sent a short email to my mother. I received your letter. I appreciate the honesty. I'm not ready for regular contact yet, but I'm glad you're in therapy and working on things. I hope you find healing. I'm finding mine. She responded within an hour. Thank you for responding. Take all the time you need. I'll be here when and if you're ready. It wasn't reconciliation, but it was a door left slightly open, which felt right. Christmas came. I spent it with the brunch group, doing a gift exchange and watching movies. Tyler sent me a package with a framed photo of us from when we were kids, grinning at the camera. The note said, "Remember when we still believed everything would work out? Turns out we were right, just not in the way we expected." January brought Seattle's darkest, rainiest weather. I thrived in it. I loved the cozy coffee shops, the gray skies, the excuse to stay inside with books and tea. I loved my work, even when it was exhausting. I loved my friends, who felt more like family every day. In early February, a week before the awards ceremony, I helped my preceptor Claire with a patient who had just undergone emergency surgery. The patient was young, only 32, with young children. The surgery had been risky, but successful. When I went to update the family, the patient's wife grabbed my hands. "Thank you for taking care of him," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Our kids need their dad. You and your team saved him." We just do our jobs, I said. No, you do more than that. You care. That's not something you can teach. That's who you are. She hugged me, and I thought about how different this felt from that empty walk across the graduation stage less than a year ago. This was what I had worked for. This was what mattered. The night before the awards ceremony, I couldn't sleep. I laid out my dress, a deep blue that Amanda had helped me pick out. I confirmed that Tyler was on his way, that my friends knew where to meet. The ceremony was at 2 in the afternoon, Valentine's Day, in the hospital's elegant conference center. I arrived early, my heart pounding, the room filled with hospital staff, award recipients, and their guests. I saw Tyler walk in, wearing a suit I didn't recognize, looking so much more mature than the last time I'd seen him. My brunch group arrived together, carrying flowers. Amanda came with her husband, Dr. Morrison had flown in, surprising me completely. When it was time for my award, Amanda walked to the podium to present it. Deanna Cooper represents the very best of nursing, she said. In her first 8 months at Seattle Medical Center, she has demonstrated exceptional clinical skills, unwavering compassion, and a dedication to her patients that goes beyond anything we typically see in new graduates. She has saved lives through her quick thinking and attention to detail. She has comforted families in their darkest moments. She has mentored newer nurses with patience and kindness. But more than any of that, Deanna represents what it means to overcome adversity and choose yourself. She reminds all of us why we do this work. It is my profound honor to present the Nurse Excellence Award to Deanna Cooper. The room erupted in applause. Real applause. Loud and sustained and genuine. I walked to the stage, and this time, it felt completely different from walking across that graduation stage 9 months ago. This time, the applause was for me. This time, people who actually knew me, who valued me, who celebrated me, were watching. Amanda handed me the award, a crystal sculpture of a heart. We took photos together. The applause continued. I looked out at the audience and saw my people. Tyler, grinning and wiping his eyes. Sarah and Claire and the others from brunch, all cheering. Dr. Morrison, beaming with pride. Amanda's family, who had folded me into their lives without hesitation. This was family. Not the family I was born into, but the family I had chosen and who had chosen me back. After the ceremony, we all went to dinner. 15 people crammed into a long table at an Italian restaurant, sharing food and stories and laughter. Tyler sat next to me. "You did it," he said quietly. "You really did it. We both did. You're thriving too." "Yeah, but you went first. You showed me it was possible." At the end of dinner, Dr. Morrison stood up to leave. She hugged me goodbye. "I knew you were special from day one in my class," she said. "But watching you blossom into this confident, accomplished young woman has been one of the great joys of my career. Keep shining, Deanna." After everyone left, just Tyler and I remained, finishing the last of the wine. "Are you happy?" he asked. "Yes. Are you getting there?" "We both are." He flew back to Oregon the next morning. I went back to work on Monday. Life continued, beautiful and ordinary and mine. That spring, I started a new tradition. I reached out to the nursing school and offered to sponsor a scholarship for nursing students from difficult family situations. The scholarship covered books, supplies, and some living expenses. The only requirement was that recipients pay it forward someday when they were able. I also volunteered to speak at the nursing school graduation that May. When I stood before that year's graduates, I looked out at the sea of caps and gowns and saw several students sitting alone, no families in the crowd. After the ceremony, I approached them. "I graduated alone, too," I told them. "And I want you to know, you're enough. You did this. You're going to be amazing nurses, and you don't need anyone's validation but your own." I took all 6 of them to dinner. We celebrated their achievements properly. One of them, a young woman named Emma, cried and said, I thought something was wrong with me because my parents didn't come. Nothing is wrong with you, I said firmly. Sometimes people can't give us what we need, but that doesn't diminish what we've accomplished. That dinner became an annual tradition. Every graduation, I found the students who walked alone, and I made sure they knew someone saw them, someone valued them, someone was proud. In June, exactly 1 year after I moved to Seattle, I stood in my apartment looking out at the city lights. My phone buzzed with a text from my mother. 1 year since you left. I think about you often. Still in therapy. Still working on being better. No pressure to respond. Just wanted you to know. I wrote back. Thank you for telling me. I'm proud of the work you're doing. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was acknowledgement. It was a bridge, however shaky, between who we had been and who we might someday become. Tyler texted me a photo from his graduation from the technical program. He had completed it in record time. You're coming to my real graduation in December, right? Wouldn't miss it for anything, I responded, and I meant it. Because that's what family does. Real family. Chosen family. Family that shows up. I looked at the nursing award on my shelf, right next to my diploma. Both symbols of how far I had come. The diploma represented what I had achieved alone, through sheer determination and sacrifice. The award represented what I had achieved when I finally allowed myself to be supported, to be part of a community, to accept help and celebration. Both were important. Both were mine. I thought about that day in the parking lot, crying in my cap and gown, feeling like the loneliest person in the world. I thought about booking that one-way ticket with shaking hands, terrified but desperate. I thought about those first weeks in Seattle, unsure if I had made the right choice. And I thought about now. About my work, my friends, my life. About Tyler thriving in Oregon. About my parents finally doing their own work to become better people. About the students I got to help every year. About the patients whose lives I touched. About all of it. If I could go back and talk to that girl in the parking lot, I would tell her, the pain you're feeling right now is real and valid, but it's not the end of your story. It's the beginning. You're about to discover that you're stronger than you ever imagined. You're about to learn that family isn't always blood. You're about to fly across the country and land exactly where you belong. You're going to save lives, including your own. You're going to build a life you're proud of, filled with people who see your worth. You're going to be okay, better than okay. You're going to be happy. I used to think that booking that one-way ticket was running away. Now I understand. I was running toward the life I deserved, the one where I wasn't begging for scraps of approval, the one where my achievements mattered, the one where I was surrounded by people who celebrated me, not diminished me. That parking lot breakdown was the last time I cried over people who couldn't love me properly. These days, I save my tears for joy. And there's so much joy here. Seattle rain continued to fall outside my window. Somewhere out there, a patient in our ICU was recovering because our team had worked through the night. Somewhere, Tyler was coding his first real program. Somewhere, my parents were in therapy, trying to understand where they went wrong. And here, in this small apartment that I paid for with my own hard work, I was exactly where I needed to be. I had walked across that graduation stage alone. But I hadn't stayed alone. I had found my people. I had found my purpose. I had found my home. And that made all the difference. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and your own well-being? Have you ever walked away from toxic relationships to save yourself? If you're struggling with this right now, I want you to know that you're not alone. It's one of the hardest things anyone can do, but sometimes it's the only way to truly live. If my story resonated with you, please leave a comment below. Share your own experiences. Let's build a community where people understand that choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. And if you found value in this story, please hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more real stories about overcoming adversity, and share this video with anyone who might need to hear it. Your story matters. Your healing matters. You matter. Thank you for listening to my journey. I hope it brings you comfort if you're going through something similar, or understanding if you're trying to support someone who is. Remember, you deserve to be celebrated, not diminished. You deserve people who show up. You deserve joy. Take care of yourselves out there. You're stronger than you know.